Everybody has a story, but not all stories have been told. This is Benson the Storyteller, and these are some of my untold stories. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My good name is Benson the Storyteller, and these are my untold stories. For those of you who are seeing me for the first time, welcome to my YouTube channel, and please consider subscribing. This channel is about untold stories, personal life stories and things that happen in my life. Sorry guys for the noise. This is where I am, and as you can see, it's kind of windy. It's very, very windy. It's autumn, and the leaves are falling down. Okay, yeah, so this is where I am. Oh, there are even squirrels. You guys, you see the squirrel. And that noise, there's a machine over there that's collecting it. It's driven, and it like collects the leaves that are fallen down. So if you hear some noise in the background, that's what it is. Yeah, so as I was telling you guys in my previous video, I was telling you guys about the first time that I ran away from school successfully and I wasn't caught. I left school, just went through the front gates, got to Nairobi City, went to my uncle's place. But then my uncle called, he snitched. He called my dad, and my dad came pick me up and took me back to school. So I didn't even sleep one day out of school. I left in the afternoon, and by evening at around 9, I was brought back to school. Now, that wasn't like the first and last occasion that I was going to run away from school. What happened is that after that first incident, I think I ran away from school almost maybe a minimum of like 4 times. All right. In my whole stay in that school, I think I ran away a minimum of 4, maybe 5, maybe 4 or 5 times. Yeah. I just realized that running away from school, you just have to get creative. You don't do the same thing twice, because once they found out the way how I got out the first time, it became harder, and I couldn't do it again, because the first time I went through the front gates, and I think the policemen at the gates were informed, and they were told, okay, look, if you see any child trying to pass here, and I think they gave them my picture or something, because I was just notorious. One day I was just like Houdini, now you see me, now you don't. I just found different ways of running away from school. I was very creative. I remember there's a time, it was a visiting day, and as usual, my parents didn't come. So what I did was I convinced one of the parents who came, I said, okay, look, I have been sent away because of the fees, and I stay not very far. I stay in Embakasi, and I'd like to go home. I'm a day scholar. I didn't tell them I was a boarder. I said I'm a day scholar. I'd like a lift up there, and then go see my parents, and I come back with them to school. And for some reason they just agreed, and I got in the car, was driven. Now I didn't walk like the other time. I was driven out of the school compound in a parent's car, and they left me at the same junction that the police lorry had left me the first time I ran away. I remember there's another time that I decided, okay, fine, what I'm going to do is this time round, I'm not going to run away by myself. I'd done it by myself. I'd done it using a parent, and now this other time I was going to now do it officially using the school. when we go out, we go out for a function, you know. And I remember, there are functions that I couldn't run away, because usually most of the functions that some of them that I went for were like public speaking. But then, the public speaking ones, I kind of like them because we are not so many students who are taken for public speaking. And whenever you were taken for an event that you are not so many students, they kind of treated you well. We are giving chips, chicken, we are giving sodas, it was really nice. And you couldn't run away because you were like the center of the whole event. All right. Like when it's public speaking, we're like maybe 4 or 5, and we went with the school van, so if you went missing, it would be very evident. All right. But then there were things like the music outings, like the scouts. I also enjoyed the scouts. I didn't even consider running away from, because the scout outing was very interesting. We got to go to, there's a time we went to Roland Camp. Oh guys, that's a story. That's a different story. I don't know when I'll give you guys that story. Yeah? Should I give it now and then I'll go on with this story later? Oh guys, I have tons of stories. I might even forget. Like, okay, look. There's this time we went for camp, Roland Camp. Yeah? So we went with the scout master, and we went camping. So we were given this place where we are going to camp. Okay. So after camping, okay, we are given a space. Then we are told the scout master had his tent in the middle, and he slept with the commandant's son, Mr. Mbugwa's son. Because we are all equal, but some are equal than others, because he's the commandant's son and nothing can happen to him, and the scout leader was an administration police officer. So I remember there's a time we were told, okay, fine, you guys, you are going to oh, this is the machine. This is the noisy machine. It collects like the leaves that have fallen. All right. Yeah. So guys, so we had our tents. All right. We were taken with the school lorry, and there were mattresses. So we just had the tents, and we got the blankets from the school. So we were given a place in Roland Camp, because there's usually very many different schools that come to camp there, and even there's his grave, Mr. Roland. His grave is there. The guy who founded the Scouts. I think he's British. So our scout master was like, there were these things that you call them bush babies, and bush babies, they usually come down and steal food, because we had our food. We had like bread, we had like some fruits, and food that we'd cooked. So we were told everyone had like tents all around his main tent. All right. So after the fire, we had a bonfire. We were singing this song: ding dang dooli gooli 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 wacha, zing dang do, ding dang do, ding dang dooli 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 wacha, zing dang do, ding dang do. Hey la, de la de la, say la de la, da na na. Wali 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 wali. There was I can't remember the words, but that's how the tune went. So we are having fun. Then at night we were told, okay, fine. Now what's going to happen is this. Because every tent we were like two people. So you are told, every tent, I want you guys to stay watch. All right, stay watch for like an hour. Then wake up the next tent. Then an hour. Then wake up the next tent. Then an hour, like that. So by the time we went, I don't know if it was 1 round or 2 rounds. It was almost morning. All right, just to make sure that the bush babies, these things like these animals, they don't come and eat the food that was kept there. So as we were naughty, so I was like, I'm not going to wake up and sit in the cold watching over these bush babies. And during the day before that, guys, before that, we'd gone walking, and there are places where there are caves. There are actual caves there. All right. Oh, it's passing back again. It's kind of noisy. There are actual caves, and there's even a place that we went, and we found this big dog. It had been hung from, the nostril, like, and then it was on a rope. You can imagine we are running inside a footpath, only to come across a big dog that was bloated and hanging on. Like, you guys, we ran back. We told, like, the rest of the students. No one believed us. I don't know if anyone who was in our class can remember that incident. We went and found this big dog hanged, from its nose on a tree, and it had started. So that night, I remember the next people next to our tent, woke us up, and we're like, in the middle of the sleep. Then I was like, yo, dude, I don't know if I was with Jerome Onduto or someone, because we were 2-2 in the tents. I was like, dude, I'm not going to wait for an hour in the cold. So immediately those kids who woke us up went back to their tent. I went straight to the next tent and hit it with some sticks. Get up, it's time it's your turn. So they got up, right? They took their hour, and then it went round again. By morning, we had not taken even an hour watching. We every time we are woken up, we just immediately, So in the morning, there were like 2 hours that were off. 2 hours that were off. 2 hours that, because by the time it got to the it had gone round, I think, twice, and it got to the scoutmasters, whatever. He checked the time. He was like, no, how, and everybody was 1 hour. I mean, some crazy things, but they never, because, like, they tried tracing around. We're like, no, we took our hour. Then we took an hour, and anyway, that was that. I just wanted to mention that. So I was saying, I kind of got very good in coming up with ideas of running away from school. All right, I became creative. So there's a time we went for, it was a music thing. I think it was at Umoja Primary School. We used to like going to Umoja Primary School. And then there was a place where we'd be taken for lunch. So usually in lunch, when you go for the outings, it's usually just bread and sodas, right? So in the mealy, like, people are going to get their bread, people, whatever. I just went through one of the back doors and I was out. I waited, got into a matatu. Matatus are the public service, these small vans. I got into one and I left. That's one of the times that I ran away from school during an outing. Hello. That's a small kid. Small kids down here playing, playing around. So that's the time I ran away from school during an event. But now I'd made this name, like the runaway kid. I was kind of famous. So teachers were like, anytime there was an outing, because I was in a lot of these groups, so these clubs. So anytime there was an outing, the teachers were told, is Benson in that group? Yes, he's in the group. Make sure you keep watch on that boy. That boy can disappear like anytime. So a lot of the times, the teachers would have me even seated next to them to make sure that I don't run away. And they'd always be like, where's Benson? Benson? Where are you? I'm here. And the headmaster had put it in such a way that I don't know if it was after the third or fourth time I'd ran off. Now the headmaster said that every morning, because they sat down with my parents, my parents were like, okay, look, we do not stay in Nairobi, we stay very far. And sometimes it's hard to coordinate, come visiting and all that stuff. So we'd be sending someone. So they started sending a cousin of mine called Omondi, Francis Omondi. Yeah? Omondi Agembo. That's one of my cousins. Now he used to be sent to come and visit me in school. Sometimes during visiting day. He's not my parent, he's my cousin, but he's my elder cousin, so he used to come. So what the headmaster did was he made a rule that I was to check in with the teacher on duty 3 times a day, my guys. Just imagine. In the morning, I'd go to the staff room before classes and say, I'm present, teacher, I'm here. Okay, you're here, go back to class. After lunch, I'd go back to the staff room and say, I'm here, I'd report. During preps again, I'd report to the I'm telling you, I had a tough time in that school, you know. And all the teachers now knew, you know, because I was reporting every time that, why is this boy always, this is Benson, this is the boy who keeps running away from, okay, yeah. How does he run away? This boy is smart. Like, how does he manage? You know, people are always like, because every time I ran away, I was asked, how did you run away? And it got more creative as it always got more creative as we so I was told I had to report every time, like for a very long time. Now, in fact, I was so famous and kind of everybody associated me with running away, you know, like some people always were like, Ben, how do you run away? Can you teach us how to run? You know, and there's this boy, he was called Gikonyo. You know, there are people who looked at it like, you know, like it was they were amazed, you know, that they liked, they admired, you know, my courage, how I used to scheme and run away. But then there are others who took it like, made fun of me, like wanted to abuse me with that, you know, you keep running away you keep running away from school. I don't know what. That was Gikonyo. And I remember there's a time we you know, randomly he liked telling me, anytime I disagreed with him on something, like, oh, I know, you only think about running away from school, you know, stuff like that. So there's this time, you know, Gikonyo, he had this younger brother, you know, his younger brother, I can't remember his name. And there's a time in our school, you know, when you went to the toilets, you just see lines of poo, you know, on the wall. And then the headmaster was like, who does this, you know? And then he said, we are going to look and find out who the painter is. He used to call it, some people are painting the walls, you know, like, you know, there's some kids, I don't know if they just came from the village and I don't know if they used to just use their hands to wipe their ass, or they didn't have some tissue paper or whatever. So the headmaster said, we are going to find those painters. He used to call them painters. There's a time he even used to come to class, he'd send the teacher, the headmaster would come and then tell the prefects, sniff everybody's hands, put your hands on the table, sniff. And then they'll sniff your fingers, because the subordinate staff who washed the toilets would complain to the headmaster. And then the headmaster would go and find their fresh lines, you know. I don't always talk about it on parade, but then the next day there are fresh lines in the toilet. So it's go to the classes, tell everybody to put their hands, you know, and they sniff. So there's a time they did that. And then they found Gikonyo's younger brother. He hadn't even washed his hands yet. I mean, they were still... So every time he used to make fun of me, that, oh, you only know how to run away. Me, I used to tell him, yo, you and your brother, you only know how to paint the walls. You only know how to paint the walls. What are you telling? You know, I used to make fun of him. Sometimes he even wanted to beat me up, you know. But eventually he left me alone, you know. He said, it's not worth it, the embarrassment. Me, I used to say, you and your brother, all you know how to paint walls. Should I give you some of my toilet rolls? dude. You know. So yeah, so that went on for a while. I'd ran off, and it got to the point where headmaster didn't know what to do with me, honestly. And because he'd been asking me, what's the problem? Is it that you miss your parents or you miss home? I said, okay, both. And you know, the thing that made it worse was, there was Christopher Mwania. There's this friend of mine, Christopher Mwania, and he had a sister, I think, yeah. And every was it Saturday? Every weekend, his dad would come to school to pick him up and take him to church. You know, because we used to have church in school, but Christopher he never had church in school. His parents used to come, all right, and he's my very good friend. And I was pissed. I was like, look, my family is SDA, and why can't my parents come and pick me up on Saturdays and take me to church? How come some people are allowed to go? And you know, and that thing really vexed me. And sometimes that's why I just said, no, I'm leaving, I'm going home, I'll be back on Monday, you know. I was crazy. So the headmaster didn't really know what to do with me. There's at a point I remember they caned me, you know, when usually I ran off and I'm brought back. My dad was also, people were tired. I ran off, I'm brought back, you know. Like maybe after a day or two, they bring me back, you know. And whenever I get back, I hit the road running, planning my next escape, you know, prison break. Those days I was just crazy. But at the same time, I was a good student, by the way. I was never below average. I was above average most of my time in school anyway. So it wasn't really affecting. It was just that I wasn't used to, you know, there's some people who are not just used to confined space, like a boarding. I'm a free spirit, you know. I don't like being, you know, contained, you know, like in boarding school. I've always struggled with that anyway, to say the truth. You know, it's not like I didn't like school. It's just that I didn't like boarding. You know, I'd like school. I finish in the evening, I go home. You know, that type of setup. All right. So that happened until now. The thing that stopped all this running away thing is the last time they beat me up properly. I was given proper discipline. You know, I was even threatened that they were going to call the administration. I mean, they scared the shit out of me the last time I ran off. Okay, so the last time now, I'd planned to run away. Okay, and the mistake I did this time was, you know, usually I go alone, but this time there's this boy. He was like, and then, you know, you never say what you want to do. That's what I've realized. You know, never trust anyone with information. You know, so the stupid thing I did was I said that I was going to go, and I think I wrote a note also. You know, I was like, go and give it to the teacher, so that they don't look for me. They know I've gone, I've left. Some crazy thing. I don't know what I was thinking. You know, writing a note. So this time I get this boy called Michael Kimathi. Now, Kimathi, I don't know if he wanted to go with me or I wanted company. I convinced him. I'm not sure what happened, but we planned to run away with Michael Kimathi. Now, Michael Kimathi, we were friends because there's a time that I remember it was midterm, right? Imagine midterm and your parents don't even come to pick you up, you know. So people have left school, parents come and pick you up. My parents didn't come. The way they didn't come for my usually for my visiting days. So I was like, no, because if your parents don't come, you stay in school for those weeks. There are people who stay in school, but there's food is always provided, but you just stay in school now. And there are some students who never went. So I was like, no, I have to go. So I talked to Michael Kimathi was like, his mom also came like later. So she was like the last parents to come. And then I was like, yo, can you talk to your mom? You guys drop me home, please. I can't stay in school. And then Michael was like, okay, let me talk to my mom. So Michael Kimathi talked to his mom, and she said, okay, fine, where do you stay? Then I said where I stay. And Michael Kimathi, they stayed in Isili. Yeah, I think it was Isili. So she said, okay, I'm going to drop you home, and then we are going to go home. All right. So she was a very nice, Michael Kimathi. He was raised by a single parent. He just had his mom, and she was a very nice lady. But she drove fast. I remember in Mombasa Road. I think that their car had a speed governor. So anytime it hit over, I don't know if it was over 80, 100 there, it would start beeping. And I'm telling you guys, the moment we hit Mombasa Road all the way to the city, it was beeping throughout. She was just trying to get a little lower than the speed limit of that speed governor thing, but it always kept beating. It always kept beeping. She always passed the speed. She was a very fast driver. All right. So from there, anyway, me and Kimathi were kind of like, we got close. We like bonded as friends, and so this day I say, okay, fine. You want to run away with me? Okay, let's plan it. So I plan. I'm like, now what we are going to do, we are going to, during, I think it was before, when people are going to church or something, I don't know, on a weekend, I was like, look, we are going to walk, from the dormitory, there's a walkway. From the dormitory, there's a walkway. You just pass straight to the administration police. You can follow, if you go around from the school, the classes, you'll follow the tarmac, and it goes all the way around to the entrance where the big tarmac, where the passing ceremonies parade happens. Yeah, but you can also pass through the grass. There's a footpath through from the dormitories and go straight to the passing out parade area. All right, that was actually a shortcut. All right, so I told him, get ready. So the mistake I did, I told dude called Edwin. Now Edwin was my pal. Edwin was my friend. But the mistake I did, either I told him or I gave him a note. I don't know, but I think I gave someone a note and said, okay, when we are gone, later on in the evening or in the day, give it to Miss Madore, all right, who was my class teacher. Because I remember there's a time I ran away and they were like, anything can happen to you and we don't know. You just left school without telling us, and that's bad. How can you? Next time just come when you're feeling low, tell me, oh, I'm missing my parents, and we'll see what we can do. As if I'm stupid. They thought I'd go and tell them I want to run away, and then they'd call my parents and have me go visit. They thought I was stupid. But I said, okay, fine. If you want me to notify you guys, I'll do it. All right? I'm going to write a note. Once I go, Edwin, pass it over. I don't know if it was Edwin or Gashagwa. One of them. I told them. Now, immediately we got the chance, I told Michael Kimathi, let's go. So we start walking. We get to the administration police. Now, what I didn't know was the moment we started walking, Edwin also started walking to report us to the teachers. Edwin also went directly we are going that direction, he went that other direction to go and report us. So we got to the administration camp. I'm telling Kimathi, look, I have some money, let's get some sweets. And from the administration police campsite, there's the canteen. So we went, we got some sweets, right? Took the sweets and I said, okay, let's go. Now this time, because I knew that we couldn't pass through the administration police gate, because by now they knew, they had been warned to be cautious of students running away. Okay, me. So between the administration police camp and the G.S.U camp, there's a fence. There's a fence between the two. All right, like it's like a footpath, just a gate you can. So I said, okay, fine. The AP guys know about it, but the GSU guys don't know. Okay, so I said, what we are going to do, we are going to walk past this gate. We are going to walk through the GSU camp, get to the GSU, leave through the GSU gate, and if they ask us, we tell them, okay, we are from the APTC primary school. We live in the GSU. We live here. We are going to school. Like we are going out from the GSU gate, then we are going round and entering from the AP gate, right? That's what I planned we are going to say. So we went, we bought sweets. We passed through that gate, the gate in the fence between the administration police and the GSU. Now, what happened was, immediately we passed through that gate. You know, you pass through that gate and then there are houses. There are like the senior police officers, they have houses there. So you have to pass these houses to get to the administration side, almost where the GSU gate is. So the moment we got into the GSU, the teachers had already sent students, prefects, you know, and some of the subordinate staff to run after us. Now, they didn't know which side we were. So those guys had ran, they'd gone to the gate, administration police gate, and asked, have these boys come here? They were told, no, there are no boys who passed here. They went to the shops. They were told, oh, some boys were here, they just were buying some sweets. But we don't know the direction. So I don't know how they figured out that we went through that gate. So they come after us. I see, like, I happen to look back and I see like students, they hadn't seen us yet, and I was like, damn, we've been caught. So I tell Michael Kimathi, let's hide in, because there's one of the homes and there was like some shrubs. So I told him, let's hide just next to the door, you know, the side of it was a house that had like some shrubs, some bushes, like manicured around it. Yeah, so we went in and squatted down, you know, hiding in the bushes. So we hear these guys' footsteps. Oh, wako najua wamepita hapa, you know, we think they've passed here, wako mahali hapa. I think they're, you know, they're looking for us, and they're like many kids, they're like 10 kids, you know. So like I can hear them, they're coming closer, and as they're just about to pass, I've seen some have already passed, they're going. Then one of them, one fool, looks back and sees us squatting there in the bush. Then I'm trying to tell him, shut your, keep, you know. Then he's like, here they are. He starts shouting, here they are, I found them. Oh, damn. So all of them come and, you know, they grab us, and then the subordinate staff. So we were caught. Me and Michael Kimathi, we were caught in the GSU training college camp area. So these kids, now I'm busy because you remember this other kid. There's this other kid I told you guys that we went. He started the chase for the wildebeest when he killed the wildebeest. That tall, skinny, funny boy. Now the same boy, he was the ringleader of these guys. So I was like, I started bribing him. I was like, I had a lot of sweets. I was like, yo, dude, you guys, take these sweets. You guys eat these sweets, and then, you know, let us go, man. You guys, you're going to get a storm. Or just say that you didn't find us here. Say that you found us, you know, just in the grass before we got to the PTC. You know, I was trying to like make a deal with him. So he's like, okay. Then I give him the sweets. Start distributing the sweets. Then I'm like, okay, fine, we have a deal. Then he's like, no, you're trying to bribe us. You know, he's telling the subordinate staff, and he was trying to bribe us so that we don't say. And then he's eating my sweets at the same time. I'm saying, I'm like, I'm trying to bribe you, but you've taken my sweets already. I've already bribed you, and you're again turning the script. And he was like, no, you just gave me these things, but I'm not going to do it. We found you, we are sent to get you, we are taking you back to school. So we are taken back to school, guys. A group of, like, we are being led like thieves, you know. They are holding us by the sweater, by the collar, by the tie, you know, by the back of the shorts, our trousers. our shorts. No, we didn't have trousers. Our shorts. So we are being led, you know. So people are like gathering. They're like, oh, this time they caught Benson. They caught him. they're like, he was teaching Michael Kimanthi how to run away from school. They've caught them. They've caught them. Now we are being followed. We are being followed. All right. So we are taken to the headmaster's house. All right. We are frog marched all the way to the headmaster's house. The headmaster's like, what's going on? We caught them running away. You know. But you know, it's only later that I found out that it was Edwin who snitched. You know. It's only later I found out. But Edwin, no harsh feelings. You know, we were kids then. I don't blame you anyway. Someone had to stop me. It just happened to be you. But it's all good. So, the headmaster, I remember the headmaster just heard that I ran away again. And this time, I got someone else to run away with me. That's what made him angry. Like, this bad behavior I'm trying to teach other kids to. Oh, I'm telling you, the headmaster, that guy, he caned us properly. Like, there are very few times that I've ever been caned in that school that bad. He caned us properly. You know? And then I remember the same day we went for preps. He came again because the first time he caned us in front of, like, there were several students. All right? Then during the preps, he came again and called us. Me, I thought, like, once he'd caned us the first time, it was done. He came again to preps in the class. He called us out. He caned us again. You know, it was a weekend. He caned us again during preps properly. And then to make matters worse, again the next Monday during assembly, he called us in front of the whole school assembly and caned us again. Like, I was caned like 3 different occasions. Thorough caning. You know, he caned thoroughly until this whole thing of running away from school, it left me totally. I was like, dude was trying his best to kill me. Like, he caned. I mean, there are few times I've seen the headmaster really angry, and this one, it was simply because he was saying, like, I was like recruiting people and it would be a big issue in school. All right. So I really sympathize with Michael Kimanthi because it was his very first time to try running away and he was caught. And he was caned, because me, I'd been running away several times and I wasn't really beaten, like whipped and caned thoroughly like this time round. You know, it was the first time that I was being beaten that bad. You know, and it was unfortunate. Michael Kimanthi, sorry, it's unfortunate it happened, but you know, we went through it and we were kids, and that's such is life. Yeah. So that is like the last time that I ever ran away from school after that incident. All right. Yeah. So still in my next video I'm going to give you other stories of things that happened and things that later led me to eventually leave Administration Police Training College. All right. So if you're new, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you're a regular viewer, please continue supporting me and watching my videos and watch them all the way to the end. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys on my next video. See you.